that were during the Church of Iessa. Now remember, the Church of Iessa is not modern-day Christianity, but it is its foundation. They didn't see magic as evil, but as a tool for spiritual enlightenment. I'm sure they had regulations for people who had any intention to use magic for evil. Which brings me to my next point, which is the concept of witches, Satan, and magic specifically being associated with evil came from the Jesuit church themselves, or the Cabal. They purposefully created this view on magic in order to confuse us from our own power that lies within. And I'm sure there's many of you right now that are still denying the existence of an earlier Bible or the Church of Iessa, but let's take a look at some of the forgeries created by the church and the inconsistencies that are pushed in the modern day. Now, this is pretty lengthy, a lot to cover just for one single video or even a single book. Quote, "As I have shown by citations that forgeries were committed, I shall prove by explanations that our Bible is an Irish book of pre-Roman times and an out-and-out theft without acknowledgement from the Irish Church of Iessa. Any competent person who knows the Irish language cannot fail to recognize it." Quote, "Our present version of the Bible then is an authorized adaptation from the original Irish scriptures with alterations and additions made from time to time by Roman and British churchmen in secrecy as they deemed it necessary and advisable to do so." Quote, "The following agreement in the writings under the names of Matthew, Mark, and Luke regarding the impression made upon the people by the teachings of Jesus is an example which shows plainly the work of forging priests. It would be impossible for such agreement to have occurred in the original writings of any three men writing individually and independently on any subject whatsoever. But in fabrication from the older works and collaborating, the pre-scribes simply blundered and made each of the three witnesses write down and repeat the same identical expression in copy as to how Jesus impressed the people. Here is the forged testimony. Matthew says, 'They were astonished at his doctrine.' Mark says, 'They were astonished at his doctrine.' Luke says, 'They were astonished at his doctrine.'" Quote, "Many authors and critics have commented upon and pointed out the inaccuracies and inconsistencies of the scriptures, and many of them have stated their firm belief that they were copied from older books. But none of them could obtain a clue beyond a surmise which was far from the truth, and none of them was able to produce the real facts which was necessary to convince." Quote, "They found so many flaws in it, which the jugglers did not cover up, that it kept the question open until the solution was found. The true source has escaped discovery until now. At least, it has never been disclosed to the knowledge of mankind as a whole. The Irish scriptures were altered and adapted to the scheme of the church in order to make the fable of Iessa a historical and geographical fact. Names from the scriptures were given to the places in Syria during its occupation by the Crusaders to bear this out. It also suited the purpose of British statecraft to obscure and suppress all evidence of the greatness and culture of the Irish nation.